Hello, Oracles. Well, today is the last day of the quarter. That means that Tesla has just a few hours left to push out as many deliveries as they possibly can. We will be getting those delivery numbers on July 2nd. That is this Tuesday. Typically, they do it on the 2nd, so we should be seeing those numbers sometime in the morning. The market will most likely be open when they release those numbers, so we'll see how the market reacts to that. Today, we're just going to go over some of the estimates, what we've seen in the past for the production and delivery numbers, what we could potentially expect for this time around, and we'll discuss, and again, I'm not one to predict how the stock price is going to move, but we'll discuss what the market may end up doing based upon what numbers we could potentially see. So we'll get into all that in just a minute. If you like this kind of content, please hit that like button down below. All right, so the estimates right now coming out from Wall Street are around 440,000 deliveries. Now we're looking at a whisper number of around 420,000 deliveries. Of course, 420 being an ironic number, perhaps that's the number that we end up getting. Now, this is going to be sequentially quarter over quarter above last quarter's numbers. So we'll go over the last few quarters and take a look at the numbers and the progress that Tesla has made or not made over the last year. So production for last quarter was 433,000 and deliveries were under 400 at 386,000, just shy of that 387,000 number. So if Tesla comes in at 420,000 deliveries, that's going to be an 8.8% increase quarter over quarter. And if they come in at 440,000, that's going to be a 13.9% quarter over quarter increase. Now, if we compare this to Q2 of last year, we are most likely going to be seeing a negative comp over last year. That's not going to be the greatest thing, but again, this is something that Wall Street is kind of expecting and prepared for, and we're now looking to see this trend going up. So again, if we were at 387,000 deliveries last quarter and we go up to the 420 or 440 this quarter, that's going to be a massive increase, and then we would just want to see that trend continue going forward after this. Because comping over last year, coming in at even the 440,000 number, we're still coming in 26,000 deliveries shy of what we saw a year ago. That's not what you want to see for a massive growth company, especially for a company like Tesla with a high PE ratio. When you're looking to invest in a growth company, you want to see just that. You want to see growth. And Tesla, we know full well what is going on, interest rates, the struggles that they're facing there. So when those interest rates do come down, when Tesla releases the compact car, we're going to be able to see those numbers increasing again, and we're going to be able to see the numbers growing. And now growth is not just about deliveries. Obviously, that's, their bread and butter. That's where they make the majority of the revenue at the moment. But we have a lot of other things going on for Tesla that are also going to be increasing revenues over time. We've got the energy side of the business. We've got FSD, which is coming up, the robotaxi event obviously coming up on August 8th. Whether that revenue is going to be generated anytime in the next year or two, we don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But there's a lot of other avenues of revenue that Tesla has coming in. So it's not just that that's going on. And you want to look at the total financials for growth, because just because they're not growing deliveries, which, like I said, is the main portion of their revenue, they can still be growing their bottom line. Are margins going up? Are they making more money on these deliveries? So if you're starting to see numbers that maybe last year, they're coming in 20,000 vehicles less for deliveries than last year, but they've grown their bottom line, that's going to be a significant number, because that tells us that the Tesla is doing what they need to do to produce more efficiently and keep more money on the bottom line. That's what shareholders want to see. So yes, when you want to see deliveries going up for a company that's a growth company, that's important. But again, it's going to be the bottom line. That, again, we won't see until the end of July when they have earnings coming out. This is just going to be step one. And then to look at last year, again, we did see a decline last year. We went from that 466,000 deliveries down to 435 in Q3. And then we did boost up to the highest we have seen historically for Tesla, which was just shy of that 500,000 vehicle number at 484,500 at the end of Q4. So looking at potentially 420 to 440,000 vehicles getting delivered this quarter, will we see a 500,000 vehicle delivery quarter this year? I don't know. The way we are going, especially with interest rates, if they do end up coming down, it doesn't seem like they're going to come down very fast. That's not going to cause any sort of big surge in purchasing coming from Tesla vehicles. The other thing, too, when it comes to the timing of it is when we do actually see the interest rates coming down a more substantial amount, that's actually going to help improve Tesla's deliveries. We're most likely going to be having a compact car out at that time. When that happens, we're actually going to see a massive boom. That's when I think we're going to end up seeing the boom in deliveries like we had seen from 2 and 3 years ago. So when we had those interest rates drop to zero, Tesla was producing like crazy. Teslas were flying out like crazy. Now we've obviously seen the interest rates go up. That's kind of squashed a lot of that. But again, when you have interest rates coming down lower and a less expensive vehicle coming out, especially during a time when we're already seeing a big consumer style recession going on, despite the fact that nobody wants to admit it, we are seeing a lot less spending going on coming from the consumer. We're now, I think, going to see, could be end of 2025, beginning of 2026, kind of a culmination of all three of these great catalysts coming together for Tesla. We're going to see interest rates much lower. We're going to see us pulling out of an economic downturn, and we're going to see that compact car coming out. Great recipe for great deliveries. So I don't know if we're going to hit 500,000 deliveries in a quarter this year. We will most likely hit it next year, definitely by the end of next year, depending on when they're going to be releasing this compact car. That is when we're going to see a boom. I think we might end up seeing maybe 2026 to 2027 that, 500, 750,000 vehicle delivery in a quarter happening. When we hit a million, again, I'm not going to take too many guesses on that, but if this flow continues and Tesla can actually produce that compact car the way they want to, and I think it's when that compact car comes out, when we really hit the ground running with that and we hit volume production, that's when we get to that 750,000 to 1 million vehicles getting delivered per quarter at that time. Then we're going to push much higher from there. So I think seeing a number around that 420 to 440,000 vehicle range is going to be positive for the stock. We saw last week on Friday, we did push above that $200 level for the stock price, and then we pulled back under as the entire market pulled down. We had the presidential debate that went on. I think it kind of gave maybe a bit of concern for the entire nation here in the US about what the future of our politics are going to look like. Personally, I'm one that I don't vote. I've, as a child, learned that when I was watching political campaigns, and all one person was doing was bashing the other one. And you're really just saying, well, you shouldn't vote for that person. You should vote for me because I'm not that person. And that's kind of where we're seeing a lot of our politics going these days still is, vote for me because I'm not the other guy versus vote for me because these are the things that I can actually do for you. And by the way, I can back it up with what I've actually done and prove that I can do these things for you. That's kind of why I'm so against politics and thinking about the fact that most people who want to be in politics, not all, most people who want to be in politics have a desire for power. That's not always a good thing. So that's just my take on it and one of the reasons I don't vote. You guys can, do as you please. Obviously, I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do one way or the other, but I think that debate itself had kind of gave the market a pause, a little bit of concern of, well, what's actually going to go on? Are we even going to have Biden running in the election come November, or are we going to have another candidate? And uncertainty around elections every single time is going to lead to the market pulling back and higher volatility. Historically, that's how it always happens. And it's not because they're not concerned about one president or the other. It's just a matter of they don't know. And the market doesn't like uncertainty. We talk about this all the time. Market doesn't like uncertainty. So when you have uncertainty in the market, people tend to just sell their stocks or, pull out a little bit and kind of just sit back on the sidelines with some cash, waiting to see what's going to happen. And then once they get clarity as to who won the election, then we historically again see right after the election, the stock market runs into the end of the year. I have no doubt that's exactly what's going to happen this time. It's kind of why I've got some cash. I've been stockpiling cash more and more as the days go on, getting ready for that moment sometime in September and October to be scooping up shares at that time. And I will probably be adding to Tesla at that time as well. So whether we push above 200 and stay above 200, I don't know. But I think as we go into the Robotaxi event, we might see that push up, a little bit of excitement, may get a sell the news situation going on, especially if Tesla doesn't give us any true, concrete, hey, this is when the Robotaxi is coming out. We have decided that we are going to go level 4 and level 5 for autonomy. If Tesla doesn't tell us those things or give us concrete dates for it, then we may not end up seeing, the stock price push higher after that, especially going into election season. So again, I don't like to predict where the stock price is going to go. I just know historically we get uncertainty during election times, typically get a market sell-off. That's when I will be looking to add more shares myself of all of my stocks, including Tesla. And now for me, I know I used to do all the production and delivery estimates for myself, haven't had time to do all of that stuff. So I leave it to the professionals. And so I apologize for not coming up with my own estimates, but typically there's so many people out there like the Troy Teslikes of the world who are doing such a good job coming up with these numbers. there's really no reason for us. And the numbers are going to be what they are. It's fun to come out here and try to predict them on my own, but at the end of the day, the numbers are going to be what they are. And what my numbers come up with are really, truly mean nothing. So I'm just going to kind of go by what consensus estimates are going to be, see what the numbers are, and then react accordingly to those numbers and see what happens from here. So you guys can let me know in your comments below what you think the production and delivery numbers are going to be. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.